Yeah, g'day there, you Mad Monday Munters and Mutants. Welcome back to the Mad Monday podcast, brought to you as always by 4 and 20 Pies and out on a Wednesday. Does that make sense? My name is Tino Fa'asua Manaia, and I'm joined from the podcast cave with a sauna in it by Dai Henwood. Good morning, Dai. How you going?
Once again, fizzing after another Warriors win. Granted, this is one that we were expected to win, but hey, it just feels good to be sitting in the top four.
It does. I was saying this earlier this week. I like to play this game at the start of the season, first third of the season, where whenever we pop into the top four, I screenshot it, just to look back at it in the hard times at the end of the year. This year, these last 2 weeks, I'll stop screenshotting it. It'll still be there next week. We'll still be in the top four.
How good when it's happening and this isn't like, that jumble up in the first 3 rounds or whatever. This is coming into Magic Round. We're over a third of the way through the season now. We've got a reasonably juicy matchups over the next few weeks, which we'll have a look in. We've got 2 buys in the bank.
Yeah.
Penrith are at the bottom of the table. It's craziness.
Shame. And I think that one of the cool things for me is what's happening is we're starting to develop a bit of an identity, whereas last season I felt like we were like scrapping, then we'd have a bad game, then a good game, then we win at Magic Round and blah, 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 but it was an up and down season. This season hasn't been, electric, hasn't been 2023, but I think we have an identity and it is fight like hell, defend our asses off, and what punters at the start of the season were calling fluke tries, in my mind these days, they're not fluke tries. We are putting ourselves in position to score those tries. They're not as silky as they were a couple of years ago when we were running those massive backline moves with Sean Johnson, but it's not a fluke. None of these wins are a fluke, particularly this one. It's written in our rundown. We'll start with the Warriors versus the Knights. It's written in our rundown thusly. Warriors beat the suck-ass Knights in Christchurch. They did suck, eh? They do suck.
26-12. I suppose, before we just layer on the positives, there's a couple of negatives, is the Knights are literally like a reserve grade side. Their winger had one of the worst games I think I've seen a poor bloke have. He dropped it with an open try line a couple of times. He dropped it a couple of other times. The Knights have scored 60 points over their last 6 games. We kept them around about that, 12, although they did win the second half, 12-10. It was 16-0 at halftime. I was looking through all the stats. It was a really even game. Like it was sort of 52 percentage possession to us, 48 to them. The only difference was they made 46 more tackles than us, but it was an even game. So they had every chance to get in and win that game, and we took it out. And like you were saying, we scored good tries. I mean, Jacko Ford would be pretty happy to get 2 tries. Adam Pompey with 2 tries. The Wade Egan got one. I like how we've settled after having SJ, because last year we were very much just give the ball to SJ, he'll make something happen. Now we're playing more of a team. How do you think old Lukey Metz is settling into 7?
I feel like it's a lot to ask of him. I feel like we're asking him to do just about everything, and I actually feel like he's probably a better 6 than a 7. Not that the positions are that much different, but his biggest weapon is he is lightning quick, and he can tear teams apart. But when he's first receiver every time and having to make all the decisions, I feel like it's a bit harder for him to have the same impact. His kicking, I'm going to call them woes, have continued. I don't know why Pompey's not kicking. I feel like Pompey's a bit. I feel a lot more confident when Pompey's. Yeah.
Or Tane kicked the last goal, or was it this game where Lukey Met got cramped towards the end and went off?
It was, yeah, because he made that break and then immediately pulled up with cramp. Like, oh. That's why I got run down.
I don't know why, because as you said, he's settling into 7. He really wants to be a 7.
Yeah.
And he's not playing badly, but a game that really showed exactly how a 7 should play is the Eels Tigers game
From last week.
Yeah, where Mitch Moses just showed exactly how you control a team, you kick to the corners, because we do lack that long kicker. Like, when you see your Burtons and your Mitchell Moses and your Adam Reynolds, who just hoof it the whole field.
Yeah, and in Metcalf's defence, you have named like the 5 best sort of halves in the competition, and they
completely,
and they, but like it is hard to get to that position. I think he's got everything to get there, and the only way you do that is by getting reps, and he'll get them all here before he signs a max contract with the Roosters. But I think that it's good. It's good for him. It's good for the team. Our young fellas all these weeks have been sort of leading the way, I think. I just wrote this down before. I wanted to address this. We're going to place a game day hunch later on in the show. Last week, I was driving up to Northland. I was away on holiday, and Joe texted me and said, "Can you put a bet on for the Mad Monday, punt?" I said, "Yeah, Jackson Ford $9." And he was like, "Are you serious?" And as I was driving, I was like, if I had my phone in my hand, I would have had a full-on argument with Joe, but the missus was texting on my behalf, so I was like, I just tell him, I don't know, pick whatever. Then he scored, and then straight on the phone. I told you guys, he was going to score. Luckily, I followed it in with my own money. I don't know why, I just felt it.
I hedged all my bets with Lecker scoring, which I thought he would.
Yeah.
And boy, he came close.
Oh, I know. I mean, I'm even thinking about dabbling again this week. But yeah, so goal kicking woes, they continue. Great crowd in Christchurch would be the other point, eh? Like, I know you don't like when the team travels. It generally doesn't bode well for us. But man, did Christchurch love it.
Oh, I've never heard so much singing in a New Zealand rugby ground.
In a South Island rugby ground.
Yeah, like the South Island's notoriously conservative, and like the old your DJ would play a little bit of a tune, and they'd actually keep it going.
Yeah,
like and the players, Mitch Barnett was just saying how epic the crowd was afterwards, and it sounded so loud. But how many does it fit there? 17,000, I think it was.
I don't even know if it's that. Yeah, it might somewhere around the 12s or something like that. Yeah, it's not a lot.
And they have signed for the next 3 years, but I believe next year they move into the new stadium.
Yeah, which is going to be sick.
That looks pretty awesome, and it might be worth doing the mission down there for that.
Definitely.
CNK comes back into the number 1 jersey, 266 meters. He's exactly what we need.
Yes.
I was talking to the talisman, Dai Henwood, last night about the fact that it was a bit of a blessing losing Reece Walsh, actually.
Oh, yeah. No, I said that at the time. Reece Walsh was not the fullback that we needed at that time. He is a nice to have. He's not a need to have. He's not a must in your team.
No, and I mean, CNK does everything sometimes the Warriors lack, catching the ball pretty much every time. He runs so hard out of off his own goal line. He does everything you need. And he's being matched up by now. We say it each week. How good's Erin Clark?
Oh, Erin Clark's big.
45 tackles.
Just on CNK, well, we will definitely get back to sucking off Erin Clark. But just on CNK. The more than what he does do, it's the things he doesn't do. So Reece Walsh, when we had him, I have images burned into my brain of Reece Walsh basically being carried over the try line by a prop to score, or even a winger. I have no memories of that with Chance Nickel-Klokstad. I have no image in my head of Chance Nickel-Klokstad throwing a bad offload, a 50-50 ball. Nothing.
Or you're on your own 5 metre and he tries a rainbow pass to Ed Gossey something.
You've never seen it. You have never seen him do any of that dumb shit that frustrates Warriors fans, and that's what's so good about him. And the only knock on him is that he's not this, we look at other fullbacks like Pappenhausen and, Tedesco and these dudes, and we're like, oh, yeah, but he doesn't, cut through 6-7 different tackles. We don't need that. That is not where we're at. If we had 12 other, arguably, how did you fit them under the salary cap kind of guys on the field, then it would be good to have one of those fullbacks. But right now, we need CNK.
when you're talking about like Reece Walsh getting carried back over the try line, I tell you who's impressing me. Tame Tuapiki, for a smaller guy, he manages to find his front in the tackle when he's running it at three big guys. He doesn't often go backwards too far.
No, I think he's got that thing that a lot of small guys have where they have always been the smallest guy on the field. So he is used to, like, he knows what his strategy is when he's running the ball back. He is not going over the top of you. He might step you, but chances are he's just going to go to ground. And then, again, you don't have a memory of him making a massive error either. He's another one of those players. Let's get on to Erin Clark.
And just before we jump off Tane, I think
we're going to jump on Erin.
We'll jump on Erin, all right. I do worry about, well, not worry, but I mean, when we get Dallin back, when we get RTS back in the coming weeks, is Tane the victim of that?
Yeah, I think he is.
He is, eh?
Yeah, I think he is, unfortunately.
Because you can't, he's too small to, and his style doesn't suit centre. CNK is the fullback.
Yeah.
We've got, our centre stocks are just loaded with Ali Lautawa, Pompey.
It also, the only knock on him again is the size. So opponents are targeting him with kicks. So they're like, let's drop on him, particularly if we've got a taller winger. And then conversely on the other side, despite the fact that he is the only player in our team, as I think you mentioned in our group chat this week, who can make something out of nothing, he is also not a target for a kick himself. So it sort of takes one side of the track off. Not that we're deadly with our kicks, although we scored 2 tries off our kicks this week.
I do get envious when I see sides like the Storm with Xavier Coates, the Roosters with your Mark Nwanganituasi and Daniel Tupou. Like we even DWZ is a great finisher, but he's not so much of a jumper. Neither is Roger. But I mean, these are all just 1% stuff. Let's hop into bed with Erin Clark, eh?
Let's hop into bed with Erin Clark. When we signed him and Tanner Boyd in the off season, people were asking me, like casual fans of the Warriors or people that bandwagoners jumped on in 2023 were like, "Who's this guy?" And I said, I used to describe him as, once you'd defeated all the other scaffolders on the GC, you had to face Erin Clark, because he looks like every one of my cousins that moved over to the Gold Coast and picked up a job scaffolding. Remember that TV show, The GC?
Oh, yeah. Hey, it's weird you say that. I've got 2 cousins over on the GC, and they have that same, Taonga earring tattoo.
Yeah, of course they do. This is what I'm saying. He looks like he could have been on the GC back in the day, Neff. Did that get a second season? I don't know. Didn't. Nah.
Well, that really highlighted the difference between Māori culture in Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah, it did. It really did. But he looked like he could have been off that, and I was like, when we signed him, it's always good to get these Kiwi players back. That's generally the signings that we make in the off-season. But it did kind of feel like we were getting all the people the Titans didn't want anymore. When he came over, you got to bear in mind, we still had, I think we'd just told Jazz Tavanga that he could go. And so that was sort of a like for like. And he was going to be playing more or less behind Dylan Walker, or at least sharing minutes with him. Now Dylan Walker's gone, and you can see it in his fantasy scores, which have gone through the roof. He has become, like, the Aussie media is starting to talk about him. He's becoming one of those players who's like, shit, where's this been all these years? Not that he was a bad player. It's just he's having one of those breakout seasons. And it's just, he looks about 10 kilos heavier than last season, and he's just going up the nuts every single time. I think there was a play where it looked like he took a hit up, got an offload, and then in the exact same play took a second hit up before the ball was played again.
I love that sort of play. I must say I was a bit bemused by his signing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't. I mean, it turned out to be a bit of a masterstroke with Dilly Walks leaving. But also, it's not the running. He tackles his ass off. 45 missed tackles, 0. 45 made tackles.
Didn't make a tackle.
zero missed tackles. He also tends to always win the play of the ball when he runs it up. Like, he hits his front, gets up fast, plays the ball. And last night I was thinking, Erin Clark's performance shows to me how broken Tohu was. Like, Tohu by no means was playing badly, absolute servant to the Warriors in the game. He probably had a better ball handling game than Erin Clark does. But now we've just got like a live wire, energetic 13 who's just sprinting it up the guts. It's so good to see because that I reckon makes your Maratas, your Jackson Fords, it makes them just buckle down.
No, 100%.
And I heard Justin Horo actually talking about Webby, and he made a great point. He said that you look at players, Erin Clark, Mitch Barnett, Jackson Ford, Marata Niokore, they were all average at their clubs, and they've all stepped up. Mitch Barnett's gone to like Origin level, right? That shows that Webby has this great skill of simplifying people's game. And Luke Metcalf on the Dead Set Legends, the Aussie breakfast show over there, he was interviewed, and he said that Webby just comes in and gives him one thing to think about. Yeah. And he said that Webby says, you play how you want to play, and I will always back your decision. But this is the one thing I want you to focus on for this week.
Yeah, I think you can see that when, each week where Webby never makes changes. No matter how hard you want him to put Roger at fullback or whatever it is that what change you want to make. And every week we're like, oh God, he didn't change a thing again. This is why, because it instills that confidence in those dudes. Like, I know that if I do my job, do the one thing that he asks of me, play hard, I don't have to look over my shoulder the whole time and, wonder if I'm going to get taken out again. Just back on your Tohu point, you're so right. He was basically a turret on offense. When we had the ball, you just install him in the middle of the field. He was first receiver, and he's great gunslinger from that position. But yeah, you're right. It did put into perspective that he had sort of broken down a little bit. Anything more on the Knights before we move on to Magic Round?
Just if the Knights didn't have Kalen Ponga, which is potentially going to happen in a couple of years, they would literally be a reserve grade side. I feel for them, and I feel for Dylan Brown. His $3,000 million contract or whatever he signed for 10 years. I feel it's going to be bad for his career, and it's not going to fix the Knights.
I also think, and back to your mate Justin Horo of the Scope, him and Willie Mason made a point this week about Ponga singing the Kiwi anthem and not the Australian anthem.
I noticed that. Also, I loved all the pundits saying how much better the New Zealand anthem was. I've got to say, 8 last posts, 16 anthems. It's a lot over a weekend.
No.
I do wonder whether only the Anzac Day games do the ceremony and they knock it out of the park.
Yeah. I think on the Friday you do it, on the 25th, and then Sunday, sorry, man, you must pay your respects, sure. But, I don't...
Like if you did a pared down sort of version of it, but...
Timmy Trumpet version?
Obviously the New Zealand game is the game that is so awesome because it's you actually have teams from both countries.
Yeah.
Melbourne nail it, man, at night time.
Yeah.
With all the fire and all that sort of carry on.
That's sick.
And we've got to say, they kicked off with a bang with the booty pants on the Soldiers on the Thursday night game.
Oh, I didn't see that. The Broncos Bulldogs game.
Yeah, there's a couple of screenshots dropped in our thread, but it was like it was like they had got the glee department of the Australian military. It was they had some booties. The trumpeter was unbuttoned to about here. He was this real slick, hot-looking dude.
Yeah, they had that. They cut to the reverse angle, and old mate just had a dump truck on him.
He did not skip arse day
Nah.
at the gym. Is there an arse day?
As for him, he's just dragging that wagon out to midfield to play the last post out of respect for the diggers. God bless him. Lest we forget.
Hey, what I did want to talk about before we jump off this Anzac Day clash was sin bins.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a sin bin city this weekend, and we were no different. We had Marata Niokore went off in the first minute, and then Leo Thompson in the fourth minute for the Knights. I mean, I don't know. Luckily, it evened out, but it feels a bit crazy. And I noticed Andrew Abdo went on basically every Australian media outlet to say they're pulling back for Magic Round.
Yeah.
The bunker can no longer take play back for a head-high tackle unless it's really something. But, yeah, I was worried in that first minute that this was going to be a banana skin game because Marata went off. I went, oh, no, it's not going to be one of those days, is it?
Sorry, I've just screened a call from Stephen McIvor. Oh, he's now leaving a voicemail. Oh, no, have I answered it? No, he's leaving a voicemail. Sorry,
I'm very
intrigued
intrigued to see what this is about.
I know what it's about. Do you know what it's about, though?
What's it about?
G Lane was watching the Run It Straight competitions coming out of Australia and the ones in New Zealand, and he was like, I know exactly who I'd call out, and that's Stephen McIvor. And so I commented and I tagged him in it, and I was like, I back 3-time Fight for Life participant Stephen McIvor. Stretched 3 times, mind you, but I still back him.
Okay, so look, we can't have these big athletic Polynesian units running at each other for viral videos with multiple million views, and then we've got McIvor running it straight at Lane, like in the New Zealand, in the NZME corridor.
So over there in Aussie, they got Nelson Asafa Solomona hosting this massive Run It Straight competition in like Mount Druitt, and then we're in here in Auckland CBD, and we got McIvor and Lane going at each other. Wouldn't knock a fly off a pork chop.
The Pakeha punch-up.
Still, though, give me McIvor. All right, we've gone quite long on the Knights. I reckon we take a break and we'll come back and preview next week. We'll be right back. So this weekend it is Magic Round. I'm heading over there with the Mad Bastards from the Big Show. Get in touch on socials with either me directly or the ACC if you got anything that you want to do. If you want us to do anything while we're over there for you, if you can't come along. It's been a bucket list thing for me. I've never been over to Magic Round, and I'm so fizzed up for this. We head over
Have you
on
got
Friday.
an itinerary, or are you just sort of going hotel, boozer, Suncorp, boozer, hotel, Suncorp?
No, you got it. Yep. That's exactly what we're doing. I don't even think I'm going to go to the hotel.
There is no other city I can really think of that is made for a Magic Round like Brisbane. Just you walk up to the stadium, rugby league themed bars. You're gonna have a great time.
No, I mean the Pantsman last year went over with he just bought flights, no accommodation, no tickets to the game. He had to buy tickets on the second day off a bikie gang member at the gate. Like met him at the statue at the front. Whoever the statue is there, he had no accommodation. He ended up sleeping on someone's couch. So, I mean, I think I've got accommodation. So I'm one step ahead of the Pantsman there. But whether I get there or not, who cares?
Look, the Pantsman operates such a shambolic admin in life, yet he rolls double sixes every time, eh?
Oh, it'll all work out, man. It'll all work out. So, yeah, I'm heading over there with those Mad Bastards. We are playing on the Saturday, finally getting the respect we deserve. Unfortunately, that's a home game for us, which is some bullshit.
Don't get me started. And it's an away game for Brisbane. How does that work out?
I don't know. There needs to be an investigation. The team list has been named: Chance 1, Tane Tuapiki, Rocco Berry, Ali Leatawa, Adam Pompey on the wing. I'm loving Adam Pompey on the wing, by the way.
Oh, look, so I don't know whether it just came from when we filmed a little thing with Adam Pompey last year and Marcelo and Chance. He's also the nicest dude as well. And he has just slowly settled into being a really solid, awesome first grader.
Yeah, I just watched a good breakdown that Sean Johnson did over how he scored that first try, and it was around the discipline not to go over chasing the kick and just stay out on his wing. That must have been the one thing Webby gave to him. Like, whatever happens, man, don't go scrambling after that ball. Just stand out on your wing. It'll come to you. You will score. On top of that, he's been showing a bit of flair. The tries he's been scoring these last few weeks, there's been goosies, there's been steps, he's been running through broken play. And for the longest time, the knock on him was a bit boring. Safe, solid, but boring. Where's the flair? Well, he's got it. He's got it in spades. Just on Adam Pompey, I would like to make I don't know if it's a flowchart, if it's a flashcard, maybe it's a video series, to send over to the Australian commentators, and in fact our own commentators, as to how to tell Adam Pompey and Ali Leataua apart. And I'll throw Leka Halasima in there as well. And Dimitri Vaimonga can have a run.
My thing is they actually do look different, is at one point.
Yeah.
It's happening more and more. It happened across quite a few games. And I'd like to say it's because they look similar, but they seem to be able to tell all the white dudes apart pretty easily.
So three Polynesian players have a bit of a mullet going on, and all of a sudden the commentators have a meltdown. Whereas 12 white guys can show up with a crew cut and they know all of them and can pronounce Trebojevic and spell it.
I do. Well, it was in this game. Vaimonga and Leka were rocking the same haircut.
Yeah.
But they facially look very different.
Yeah.
And Pompey, even Ali Leataua's got a bit more of a layered hairdo than Pompey.
He's also running a different facial hair configuration with the mustache into the goatee beard, but separated.
And they also have different numbers on their back as well.
That's
so,
right.
I mean, there are multiple ways of telling them apart.
There's a few indicators, yeah. And as a commentator, you'd think you'd have the team sheet in front of you, so you wouldn't even need to know the name. Just look at the number. Anyway, we move on with the team list. Chanel and Luke Metcalf remain in the halves. That could get interesting when we get to the bench. This I like. Marata Niukore is starting in the number 8 jersey. He will be your starting prop. He started last week, right? But Jackson Ford was named to start. But then Marata did start.
There's a game day swapsy.
This could go back the other way. I don't think it will. What I think has happened here is the rest of the forward pack is chalk. So Wade, Mitch, Capewell, Erin Clark. Leka Halasima has gone from New South Wales Cup to extended reserve to on the bench but with way more minutes to someone's injured, so now he has to start, to now I think with Marata starting at prop. I think that's because we have to fit this kid on the field. Leka has to start, and that means we need to move Marata to prop. That's my read on this.
That's the completely agree with you. This is also the first time he'll be starting in the starting jersey, because I believe he was in 17 and he started last week. This time he's in the 12 jersey. But this is an example. We're talking about how Webby doesn't change things around too much. At least here he has realised you can't leave Leka out.
No.
He's gone from playing those minutes at the back end of a game to he is electric.
Oh.
He's got the Adam Fanua-Blake footwork just before the line.
He's quick.
He has so much energy. He's fast, man. And also, what I like is it means we can carry more forwards on the bench, because if a back drops out, he moves into centre. Yeah. He's fast enough. He can play it. Then we shuffle at halves or so forth.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I love seeing him in there. I'll be intrigued to see what happens when we get Fish back, because I imagine that drops Marata back to the second row.
I don't mind him off the bench. I feel like because the scenario in my mind is, all right, it's 25, 30 minutes gone in the game. You're a starting prop. You've been dealing with Mitch Barnett and James Fisher-Harris for half an hour, and it's been an absolute nightmare. You're buggered. All of a sudden, James Fisher-Harris comes off, and Marata Niukore is coming at you. Fuck that.
I love that. Because I notice the change is we don't have Laban this week. He drops out.
Yeah.
And Tamati Martin's back.
Yes, so this is interesting. I love this. First of all, I mentioned that last year we took to calling his try scoring and setting up moves the Tinder swindler. because he just looks into the eyes of the defender and says, "Hey, do you mind if I just come through and score a try?" And the defender goes, "I think I'm in love with you. You can do whatever you want to me, for me, with me, around me." And just shows him the way to the try line. And so to have the Tinder swindler back in the team. So I think what happens here is when Wade Egan needs a spell or inevitably gets a head knock, which is going to happen.
He's going to have to. We're going to have to figure something out. He can't play 80 all season.
Yeah, no, that's right. So Chanel then, because they have been using Chanel a bit at hooker, or at least at dummy half. So I think that's what happens there. Chanel goes to number 9. Tamati comes in. He can also cover fullback.
Just peels off 20 minutes or something there, eh?
Something like that, and then we do hooker by committee between Erin Clark and Chanel Harris-DeVito. I like the idea of it. I also wonder because how many stories have you read about Tamati Martin? He's not happy with his minutes. He's going to go over to the Super League or he's going to do this and that. Like at a certain point, he is that good a player that you need to put him in the team, just to...
Oh, completely. And he seems to be, if you follow his Instagram, he couldn't be more Kiwi. Like, he's just in the bush. He is a man's man as well.
He is, and I said this morning on the radio, that he is how every Kiwi dad describes themselves in their prime to their children.
Oh, completely.
Yeah, so I played a bit for the Warriors. In the weekends, I used to go out and, pig hunt, shot a couple of stags, pulled up a couple of kingfish, and chicks thought I was pretty hot. So, yeah, your dad was a bit of a catch back in the day.
Drop my kids at school on a horse.
Yeah.
That's how I roll.
Honestly.
I thought I'd never say this. Part of me wants Blocker Roach to be commentating this, but for the first year of his career, he called him Te Maori Martin.
Blocker.
Nothing like just popping your ethnicity into your name there. But how do you see this playing out? They put a hell of a lot of points on the Titans, mate.
Oh, I know, they're terrifying at the moment. The Cowboys have really sort of put everything together these last couple of weeks. They've been running up pretty big scores. Anyone that's playing SuperCoach knows that there are about 4 dudes in their team that scored tons over the weekend and are great buys, which we'll get to later on in the podcast.
And Nanai is just popping off again.
There's been a weird thing with Nanai these last 2 years where it's been like he's getting dropped, but then he'll come off the bench and score 2 tries, but then he'll get dropped again the next week, and then there's the whole Jason Taumalolo thing. There's the 80s hair metal rock band guitarist Todd Payton, death metal guitarist, as their coach, our former coach. I don't know, it's weird.
Where I worry is we're talking about our speedsters, Tuapiki and Harris and Metcalf. They have wheels all over the park. Scott Drinkwater, even though he scored tries, he hasn't fully popped off this season.
No.
This game is going to rely on us just grinding defense and shutting them down.
Yes. But the thing, I think the exact same thing as you, Dai. It's going to rely on us making it an absolute rock fight and shutting down their strike weapons in Drinkwater, Dearden. To be honest, Clifford's been pretty good this season as well. He's been scoring tries. But the beautiful part is that is what we've been doing all season. That is exactly how we play. We make it a grind. We shut down your star player, and then we beat you with experience of being in those rock fights.
Well, that's how we beat the Broncos.
Yep, exactly.
We shut down all their strike weapons, and Dearden's a worry. Clifford, the big red dick, is not. He's not stressing me out too much, but
he is now.
Dearden is. And they've got old Viliami Vailea, who was the ex-Warrior.
Revenge game, perhaps.
In the centres, Purdue, their other centre, has
wheels.
He's hit the ground running. He's dangerous. So it's going to be 2 different styles. Robson, the Punisher, he looks a lot like John Berenthal, the Punisher, I reckon.
He looks like if John Berenthal got stung by bees.
Yeah, he's very puffy, eh? Him against Wade Egan's going to be a good shout for sure. But yeah, it's 2 different styles. I'm stoked that we're playing at Suncorp because they are just attuned to playing up in North Queensland where it's about 62 degrees, rock hard pitch, fast as football. It suits them. So, no, stoked for that. It's going to be a very interesting game, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And you're going to be there, bro.
I'm so fizzed up for that.
It's probably the pick of the Saturday games, to be honest.
Yeah, it's the second of the Saturday games, eh? Am I gonna give a shit at all about the third game? I don't think I'll see a second of the third game because I will be. It's Tigers Dragons.
South Newcastle into us Cowboys and then Tigers Dragons.
I might be at the Caxton for that third game. I mean, I'll watch the first half, and when it's inevitably a blowout,
no one's gonna judge it. Or you watch the South Newcastle game at the Caxton because that'll be 3 PM, and then you do the other 2 games.
We'll just play it by ear. See how it goes.
Don't bog yourself down, mate.
Nah, I'm not gonna bog myself in there, man. I'll just meet up with a bikie, get a couple of tickets to something, and see how we go.
And then sleep at his place's payment, as the Pantsman did, or however it went.
I think we win it, though. I do think we win it. I know we're outsiders at the TAB, not by much. I think we are $2 to $1.82. I think we win this. I know that they're hot. I know they score a lot of points. We face teams like that. The Broncos were one of those. You score a lot of points until you come up against the Warriors. At least in Melbourne Storm.
And after that, we go into the Dragons, the Dolphins, and Canberra, right?
Yeah.
Canberra's probably the hardest game out of that, but I don't want to jump too far ahead of myself. Those are all winnable games.
Yeah. Wow.
I would probably want to take 3 out of 4 wins out of the next 4 games.
Yeah. The other part of it, though, is so this is round 9. Round 10 is when we're supposed to have Roger back, and then Dallin and the Fish are back the week after that, at least at this stage. So, I mean, if we can jag that, well, not even jag it, I think we will win this week. Now, all of a sudden, we start getting the reinforcements back. I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but we could go on a bit of a run here. And we're on a run.
Well,
fuck it.
I might have got ahead of myself. I have booked accommodation at the Pullman next to the grand final stadium where the teams stay.
Hell yeah.
For myself and my whole family. So we're going, baby.
Who do you reckon will play?
Weirdly, I had a dream that we'd play Manly, which would be weird because we played them in the 2011 grand final.
I don't think that was a dream. I think that was a memory.
No, I'm getting that's happening a lot to me, to be honest. But no, I mean, it's so bizarre how this season is shaping up, just chipping away under the radar. I'm with you. I think we can get the win, and I'm backing us. I think it's going to be a close game, Warriors by 6.
Oh, okay. So then for our TAB hunch, am I hearing a little 1 to 12, perhaps? From you,
I like the 1 to 12s.
$3.20 for a 1 to 12. That is how we win, by the way. I mean, I know last week excluded, but I feel like it's going to be tight. But I do think we win 1 to 12.
$3.20. That's
That's Jersey.
It's not Jackson Ford scoring numbers, but I like
it. Don't do that again. I don't think I wouldn't follow that money in. $3.20. Let's do it. That's going to be our agenda. Our Mad Monday TAB hunch for this week. Follow along responsibly. Warriors 1 to 12 at the time of recording this, $3.20. Just quickly, we're going to take another quick break, Di, before we do. This is the last week to join us on this year's Export Ultra Beer Garden Tour. We're going triple XL. We're heading to Texas. Big beers, big barbecues, even bigger Cowboys. Be in to win a 7-day trip to Austin, Texas with DB, Export, and the ACC if you text Ultra to 3236 to enter. I'll be right back with a bit of SuperCoach. Alrighty. SuperCoach update this week. Di, how's your team travelling, first of all?
Well, I've been jagging a couple of wins. I took away our previous producer, Adam Palmana.
Yeah.
I took him out by 20 points, I think it was, once updates happened. There was a lot of fizz in the Henwood household as the talisman Charlie Henwood took you out. But that looked early doors like it was going to happen because he He had the top 5 point scorers.
Yeah, he blew me off the. I ran into a buzzsaw this week. The talisman, Charlie Henwood, he blew me off the park early doors. Now I did manage a late stage comeback, 13:25 versus 13:57. He captained Tedesco, and I think this week you won your matchup if you got your captain right, and I think a lot of people didn't.
Yeah, I captained Teddy as well, and I couldn't get rid of Ponga. Charlie moved Ponga to Tedesco, which turned to be a masterstroke.
Yep.
This week, however, I have got rid of Ponga, and the only way I could do it, I bought him Will Kennedy.
I like that.
I like that because, to be honest, he's not going to get 130, but he does lurk around that 70.
Yeah, and he could turn up easy. If they have a big game, he's one of those great sort of broken play runners as well. He gets one of those a game, then all of a sudden you're up into the 80s, 90s. I really like that, and he's not as expensive as your, your Teddies or your Pappies or whoever.
No, and that's the thing is I was running slightly light on cash. Yes. I've also got issues around trying to potentially move Lachlan Hubner out, who had a great start to the season at Souths. But since then, he has injury, concussion, and he's got potential of sitting around 60. But I'm going to keep him in for now because I'm also trying to – I have used a trade boost.
Yeah.
And I need to shore up my backs, I suppose. What are your plans?
Well, every week if you're deep down the rabbit hole of SuperCoach, every week you go to your favourite SuperCoach content wounders who've crunched all the numbers for you, and they'll put out like a here's all the players you should sell.
Oh, like your buy, sell, trades.
Buy, sell, hold, whatever. I've got all of them. I've got all of the guys you should sell. They're all in my team. And so I'm in one of those situations where it's like, fuck, what do I do? Because there's fires to put out left, right, and centre. I'm in that situation. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this because you've just done it. I've still got Ponga. He's now lost $200 and something thousand. He just lost another $50K. He only scored 44. He's now down to 538. I kind of feel like you just got to hold on to him because who are you going to trade him to? I mean, Kennedy's a good option. I don't mind that, but it makes me sick to trade him when he's lost all that money.
And also it feels he's got to come right at some stage because he is such a class player. He's got to, out of the blue, the Knights finally get their shit together and he turns up and scores 3 tries or something. Yeah. So he has lost so much. You've got to hold him. But then, and they're playing Souths.
Yeah.
So, Souths are a pretty good defensive side. They just can't really attack.
I'm holding him. I can't justify getting rid of. The other thing is I've got Gutho, who I brought in captain and he won me one round, but since then he's starting to hemorrhage cash and he's still at about 700 and something. So now's the time to get off Gutho. So I'm going to move him on. Jenkins is the other one from the Panthers. He stopped making money, so if you've got him, bin him. Kent, now that Dylan Lucas is back at the Knights, he's not playing. You don't necessarily need to bin him because he's not playing, so he won't lose you any money, but I'd look to move him. So those are the guys I'm getting rid of.
You mentioned Dylan Lucas. I'm looking at him as a buy.
I bought him last week.
Because he's sitting at a quite a tasty little 646K, so you can bring him in. He's got nice flexibility between centre wing and second row. Yeah,
which is crucial. And if in a couple of weeks when he starts making a little bit of money, he could be the way that you get back to one of these, whichever fullback starts popping off down the track, potentially.
I don't think Jenkins is a hurry sell because the Panthers, granted they're last on the table, they don't look like a shit team. They look like they just haven't quite clicked.
No, but I think out of all of my backs, the main reason I'm getting rid of Jenkins is I'm getting on Derby. He scored...
he got 3 tries.
He got 3 tries. He scored 135. That means his price is going to rise. It's not because I think he's going to score 3 tries again. It's just because over the next 2 to 3 weeks, his price is going to go up quite a bit. So Whereas
he's got a very low scoring game in him though.
It does, but yeah, his averages are like 20, 30. But I'm bringing him in with an eye to sell him in a couple of weeks. It's basically like I've got to make a bit of cash because Pong is hemorrhaging at the moment. The other one is I'm getting on Erin Clark. I can't have him score another ton and he's not in my team. And I'm probably a week late to this. But there's nothing in his game that would suggest he's not going to do that again. There was nothing. It's not like he rattled off 3 tries and scored 100. It's not like he was, kicking goals and scored 100. He's just going up the nuts and scoring 100 and making a million tackles. I have to have him in my team. So he's coming in for Kent.
He's 577. I'm just looking him up.
Yeah.
Break even at 22. So he's going to score more than 22.
He's a keeper for me, I think, too. I think he'll be there for the whole season.
The Cowboys aren't necessarily a big defensive side. So, yeah.
And the other one...
I think that's a good shout.
And the other one for me is I was about 7 different trades this morning trying to fit Tedesco on my team. He's too expensive. I don't have anyone who I can bring in. So with the leftover money there, and I am boosting this week, I'm also going to bring in Beau Firma, who is at 553, much like Dylan Lucas, 2RF centre wing. He scored 132 on the weekend, so he's got that big thing in him. I'm not buying him to sort of make money. I just think Beau Firma is going to go well, and so
most people are going AJ Brimson, who I had early and got out of the side.
Yeah,
but no, I like me some Beau Firma. Yeah. So, that's a good shout. Although the Titans are struggling to find a win.
They leak a lot of points. But Beau Firma, I've always liked his game, Supercoach wise. Anyone else you want to try and bring in or drop?
No, I'm jumping around with it's worth freeing up cash or bringing in Savala, the half from the Roosters.
I like that too.
But then he's also seems to have just been told kick the ball as long as you can or pass it to Tedesco.
A couple of weeks ago I was saying if you want to cash out and just make it get a bit of money back so you can upgrade another position, he's a great buy because you are getting a half for the Roosters at the time, bargain basement, 198k. You just don't
I know, speaking of halves for the Roosters, I sold Sandon Smith.
I don't think that's as bad as sitting him like I did against...
Oh, God, that's right. The talisman was like, hold on, Manaia's got Sandon Smith, so they're leaving out. Then I saw that he was he wasn't even on the Pine. He was playing New South Wales Cup for you.
Yeah, I'd relegated him back to the Reggies just to have a look at himself. And he's like, how about 130 points that you won't get? Would have won me the league. I would have gone so far up the rankings at the moment. Do you know what your overall ranking is? I ask you because I just want to tell you what mine is.
Let me just bring it up here. In the Mad Munters, I'm sitting 101st.
Yeah.
Where is my overall ranking? Hold on, you go yours.
Yeah.
I'll just find mine.
Thanks, Di. That's what this was really about.
Sorry, here we go.
Yeah.
I'm 1,342.
Overall?
Yeah.
Wow.
No. Hold on. That was my score from the weekend. I'm 39,945.
I was going to say, wow, wait. I am 3,554th overall, and I am 9th in our in the Mad Monday Munters League, which, as far as I know, is the biggest fantasy league in the country. I've screenshotted my standings every week. After a week,
you are popping off.
I was number 1 in our league for quite a while, and then my overall ranking after week 3 was 436th. And then a couple of bad captain's choices, and I'm back in the 3,000s. Anyway, that's
mate, you've got to be proud of that.
There's no value in that for the listener. I just wanted to flex.
It's a good flex. It must be tight, though, because your overall points are only 500 more than me.
I know. And I'm only...
So it's tight at the top.
I know, and then it's another 200 points to the guys who are in the top 1,000. So it's like, basically, if you get your captains right this year, you win. And
so
So on that note, who are you going to captain?
I'm going to jump back to my 2017 flex.
Oh, yeah.
I came 11th in SuperCoach at the end of the year, and they sent me a KFC keyring, a hat, and some socks.
Man. Do you still have them?
Yeah.
Powerful. So on captains, this week I am just, and for the foreseeable future, I know a lot of people are talking about it, I'm just going Haas or Terrell May. I'm not doing anyone else. I'm not trying to chance it. I'm just setting him for you.
I VC'd Haas hoping I could somehow do some sort of loophole to bring him in, and then I couldn't. So your benefits of a Terrell May, a Payne Haas, you know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Around 80, right?
Yeah.
So you're taking a bit of the stress out of it.
Yeah.
For me, it's either Payne Haas or a Tedesco.
I don't mind that, but for me, I'm looking at this like my golf game. I'm not trying to drive the green. I'm just trying to eliminate the big miss. And I've been having a lot of big misses. So for me, I'm going Payne Haas, which I think in my mind is just dinking it up the fairway. I'm laying up.
Yeah.
With the opportunity to maybe dribble onto the green, you're going closest to the pin if you go Tedesco.
Yeah, although out of all of those sort of flashy backs, Tedesco still will get you about 60 if he has a medium game.
God, you're talking me into bringing Tedesco in.
No, you can't afford him, mate.
If I put some Valor in, maybe if I take my whole thing, I don't know. All right, then the code, by the way, I know it's hard to remember from a podcast, but if you still want to join the group, you can. It's not too late. Code is 111054 if you want to get involved in our SuperCoach League, 111054. So pause the podcast there, bring up the app on your phone and join it. And before we go, Dai, are you ready to come off the back fence?
Oh, yes.
Oh, a long kickoff. The offload to Henwood, and he's off the back fence. Boom time.
Look, I'm sure you've been opening up the New Zealand Herald.co.nz, copying a link and then pasting it into some way of getting past the paywall, or you buy a subscription like a faithful human being who should respect the company. Anyway, that's by the by. You need why I brought up the Herald is because how expensive are flights? You know, Air New Zealand's charging like a wounded bull, but where is that to? When you're flying to Tauranga, when you're flying to Napier. But if you're flying over to Brisbane, get on it. You need to be at Suncorp Stadium. We need to show the NRL that WARS fans show up wherever the Warriors play in Australia. We dominated Vegas. I want the Warriors fans to dominate Brisbane. You got Hoity J, Minogue, Keezy, the absolute legend, Tino Fa'asua Manaia Lawi over there. You're going to meet all sorts of people from around the game. You're going to see the Warriors beat the Cowboys. So get on a flight, buy some floaties, swim over, get the Ingham twins to kayak you or whatever they are up to. But you need to get to Suncorp. We need to show that Warriors fans are the best and Warriors fans show up wherever we're playing. Mate wa.
Oh, I am so barred up for this weekend. I am so fired up.
Do you know why it's awesome? Because you're not mucking around with lots of travel. You get to one place and you're just DLR popping in and out of the stadium. In Vegas, you're not allowed to leave the stadium. So Suncorp, you watch your games, then you get a different ticket for the day that your team's playing. So you go down behind the posts into the fan zone.
Is that how they do that?
So you have one group of fans behind one sticks, the other behind the others. It's going to be a cracker. The young boys of the Warriors beat Penrith last year. Oh. Let's hope we can keep this winning streak up. We're 1 from 1, baby.
Let's go on. I'm so fired up. Thank you very much, Dai. Enjoy the weekend. I know I will. And we'll see you guys for a debrief next week on the Mad Monday podcast.
Peace.